I swear, Amandla Stenberg is one of the whiniest, most entitled actresses we've ever seen. It's really a big problem with this generation of, quote, stars, because they go out there and they act like this all the time. We have nobody who's classy left, nobody who actually is about the craft of acting or anything. It's just about their identity all the time and whining about it over and over and over again. Maybe they should just stop making Star Wars entirely until they can just like deal with these strange women who have ruined the property and just get them out of there. Kathleen Kennedy has to go at this point. I mean, it's just so much of a train wreck, and the hits just keep on coming. So the Acolyte starlet made a video lambasting the haters, the toxic fans, you, and used a term that I haven't seen in a while. People don't really use this anymore. It's ridiculous. But the failure of the Acolyte is her fault. It's Leslie Headland's fault. It's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. It's not the fans. Make a good show. That's all I got to say immediately, and we'll get into what she said all the way in detail in just a moment. My name's John Delarose, everybody. I am a #1 best-selling science fiction author, and I have a great trilogy for you in Justified Saga of the Nano Templar. You can head to Amazon. This is a wonderful replacement for Star Wars. It is just hard-hitting, action-packed. You'll really enjoy all 3 books. I promise you that. It's in the description below. Thank you guys so much for the tremendous support and reading. I appreciate the Star Wars fans out there, even if she doesn't. I love the toxic Star Wars fans. Come here. Come join us and hit the like and subscribe button while you're at it, because I appreciate you being here. And so I wrote this morning on my Fandom Pulse Substack. Again, another thing to subscribe to if you don't get these. And I just pointed out the whole deal. The Acolyte's been a disaster for Disney Star Wars on every level. $180 million production budget for 8 short episodes. Nobody knows where the money went. Showrunner Leslie Headland exemplified the worst of Hollywood as a former Harvey Weinstein assistant, casting her lesbian lover as a Jedi, highlighting how deep nepotism runs within the Disney system. The show was designed to subvert Star Wars, with the Jedi being shown as bad and inept, members of a stodgy and dated religion, while the Sith are shown to be cool and sexy, living freedom, wanting to explore their true selves. It was a clear allegory for LGBTQ+ identity politics, which rings false in a galaxy far, far away premise. From the terrible plot holes and bad fight scenes to unlikable characters, The Acolyte exemplified the worst in bloated filmmaking and insulted Star Wars fans in the process. And of course, they ended up with an 18% tomato meter score on this. No matter how they tried to frame the review bomb, nobody came back in after they watched the show and just bumped this up. It's still sitting sub 20%. Fans hated it, and fans didn't watch it either. The Nielsen ratings just didn't exist. It fell off completely off the charts. One of the lowest rated Disney Plus Star Wars shows in history. Absolutely wild. So she starts out, and Amandla Stenberg comes online and talks about how she doesn't use social media as she's using social media. It's like an eye roll situation. They always just lie and project about everything. And goes, I'm going to be transparent and say that it's not a huge shock for me. Of course, I was in the bubble of my own reality, but that's pretty funny. She was in the bubble of her own reality. And that's exactly where Disney and all these people were at. If you listen to their interviews over the course of this show, they kept saying, oh, we're getting review bombed, but my publicist says stay off social media, and she says that it's actually doing great. The youth demographic love this. And you're just sitting there going, what? What youth demographic? I see nobody talking positively about this show. I don't hear any normies talking about it whatsoever. Nobody's watching this except for the people on YouTube like me who were reviewing it just to laugh at it. And that was it. We were the only people watching it. They turned off Star Wars fans with the premise. They turned off Star Wars fans with Amandla's bad behavior and identity politics and things like that. They turned off Star Wars fans by hiring Harvey Weinstein's former assistant. And then they made all these things, they went up to an interview saying they've made the gayest Star Wars ever. They put pronouns into the episode. They complained about the bigots and the toxic fans the whole way. You shouldn't be here. You clearly don't like Star Wars. You clearly didn't want to make actual Star Wars, anything that had to do with the property. You didn't want to honor any of the legacy of it. You just you played fast and loose with the continuity because a lot of it didn't make sense even with what was going on. And you paid the price for it, because when you have a world and an IP with such rich lore, with such a very intense and dedicated fandom, you can't half-ass it and just do your own little chicklet adventure where you make your Sith take his clothes off in front of the main character. Very interesting that Leslie Headland chose to do that. It's like, he was gonna be her. He was gonna train her, and he just got naked in a little pool. It's very interesting from the Harvey Weinstein perspective. I guess write what you know, right? but it didn't play. Like, people looked at this and just balked at it because it was so stupid on every level. And then Amandla Stenberg continues on this whole deal. She's called the fan backlash against the show a rampage of vitriol. I mean, gosh, you could tell like somebody else helped her write this. A rampage of, I would say, hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language towards us. Oh, well, this is really interesting. So it's the hyper-conservatives that killed Star Wars. What? They haven't had any conservatives working on the show in a long, long time. They fired Gina Carano over her just pretty normie conservative views. She got ousted from the show to make sure that was not clear. It was not wanted in Star Wars whatsoever. And normal people tuned out at that point. That's really when everybody tuned out of all these shows. And you've got left with a fan base. But the fan base is if all the conservatives just caused a problem because they're conservative, shouldn't they have enough? I mean, they got the modern audience. I mean, aren't they here for this? Don't the youth love this? So no, it's just that nobody watched it. And nobody watched it because it was bad. That's all it comes down to. It's really simple, but she's still, as she says, in her own bubble. And so she's making up excuses that it's really just the Trump supporters, those people who are doing it. And then she gets even weirder with this stuff as she starts to ramble because she has no real point, because she can't self-reflect. She can't look at this and go, you know what? We didn't do a great first season. We made some mistakes. We were hoping to correct that in the second. Sorry, guys. And if we had a second, we'll do better because we're listening to the fans. Now, if they came at it from a humility perspective like that, you might actually root for the gal. I mean, but they can't do it because they're so narcissistic. They're so self-centered. They're so in their own bubble, and they truly hate Star Wars fans. They really do. And this exemplifies it more than anything, because I just want to let those people know out there who've supported us in that way and supported us vocally in this face, and despite of all the vitriol that we received. I mean, come on. You can't handle people making critical tweets. When you go out there, and by the way, she tried to agitate fans. You remember she made her stupid music video where she's ranting at the bigots and the discourse, saying the youth don't give up, and then she did this. She dropped this in the middle of the show on her Instagram. And then directed it, saying this was for all the hateful bigots of the Star Wars toxic fans out there. And of course, it had a bad reaction, and people pushed back on it because it wasn't just controversial. It's agitating. She wanted to agitate Star Wars fans. She stuck a middle finger in their faces, and then was like, "Well, people don't like this. Oh, the vitriol I'm getting. I'm the victim. I'm the real victim." And nobody buys it. Hollywood starlet. You're just a narcissist is all it comes down to. And the kind of targeted attacks I would say we received by the alt-right. Oh, no. This is a term that they really haven't tried to use since 2016. Where's this coming from? So you can see that this is not her. I mean, she's a dumb, young girl. This is a publicist who wrote this, trying to make this into a political cause. And that's the intention of this. As I read this, hyper-conservative, alt-right, toxic, vitriol, these terms are being thrown out there because it's close to election season, and they want to try to make Star Wars The Acolyte and getting it uncanceled from Disney a political cause. And because they have nothing else, they don't have enough fan support, their paltry petition to bring it back sitting at 50,000 views. I mean, Grums, a random Twitter account, got over 100,000 signatures for his petition to uncensor a video game, Stellar Blade, because of a patch update. I mean, that's if he could do that with 100,000 people, that means there's nobody who cares about Star Wars The Acolyte, as we knew. That's crazy. So, that's nuts. If these people are driving a petition, they can't get they barely got 50,000 signatures in a week plus. That's not good. Nobody cares about this. And so they want to make it a political cause because they think if they can make some sort of political thing about it, maybe Kathleen Kennedy can be convinced to bring it back. And that's it. And that's the whole reason she's doing this. That's the whole reason this is here. This is totally publicist written. Like I said, it's absolutely crazy. And she goes mask off at the very end because she goes, "Let's vote, y'all. Let's vote. I think that's all I have to say." Well, I mean, people did vote. They voted not to watch Star Wars: The Acolyte. They voted with their wallets not to subscribe to Disney Plus. And you're mad about that because you only like democracy and freedom and capitalism when it goes your way. That's what these people are always about. They never self-reflect, they never make changes, and they always double down. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Really appreciate you guys being there. And I appreciate all Star Wars fans. I would love for you to read this. The readers are the best. We have an audiobook version as well, if that's your preferred way. And thank you guys for checking out Justified Saga of the Nano Templar and its 2 sequels. We'll be back soon.